break through the reserved manners, open up widely and fully towards that which is boundless. Mai means boundlessness. In this way, it will continue to purify samsara onwards. This is not just disengage and that's it. That is not yet beneficial for samsara. No grasping for the non-attachment instead. The non-attachment is boundless. This will be the non-attachment in the way of purifying through the emptiness. This is not just disengage and that's it, extinction and that's it, ending and that's it. This is ending for samsara, helping through ending for samsara. Therefore, it has to be beyond, widen out, beyond blossoming flowers, beyond blossoming lotuses, that which is boundless. Discarding is on its own, giving up is on its own. In this way, it will be beneficial for samsara by the purification of the emptiness, nirodha, nibbana. Is your non-attachment is stuck within itself? In this way, it will not be beneficial yet for samsara. Therefore, Mai is boundless. It's not just limited to itself. Mai is not even Mai itself. The non-attachment doesn't signify itself. To be limited with anything is not beneficial at all. One will be stuck only right there. Therefore, the boundlessness is impossible to be limited with anything as it is. Therefore, it's called purification of the emptiness, nibbana, purifying samsara. The non-attachment discards itself. Disengagement discards itself. It doesn't grasp itself. Non-attachment is without limits. With everything, it has to be in a way truly non-grasping for the non-grasping itself. This is fully giving up. It will be aligned with that which is boundless. No grasping is on its own. The state of mind and the mind doesn't grasp itself. No grasping for the non-grasping itself. In this way, it will be aligned with the essence of the boundlessness, purifying samsara. Let's be thorough with it. Let's not be stuck with just the mind, looking, seeing and knowing. It's going to be stuck only there. Therefore, let's purify through the conclusion constantly. No grasping is on its own. Mai purifies itself without limits. Mai is not just Mai. The non-attachment is not that's it. The non-attachment purifies itself. It doesn't grasp itself. This is not just non-attachment. No grasping for the non-grasping itself. In this way, it will be opening all the way with everything. Opening without grasping for itself. With this, it will end the ending itself. Let's purify the conclusion itself. conclude within the conclusion itself constantly and open up completely. Keep on. All the habits will be dissolved automatically. What are the habits? The attempt to do well, to maintain, to fixate, to be limited with this and that, with looking, seeing, knowing, with body, mind, feelings, and emotions. This is the habit of delusive attachment. It will dissolve automatically. Just keep on opening fully. No grasping even for the non-grasping itself fully. Disengage even from the disengaging itself. Disengage dissolves itself. It doesn't grasp itself. To be limited to certain extent is really blocking the blessing as well. The great compassion. To be limited to certain extent, how can there be the great compassion? One is stuck right there only. The mind cannot be limited to itself. Seeing or knowing cannot be limited with itself, otherwise one will be stuck only there. Even cutting has to cut through itself. Even the letting go has to let go of itself. This is not just letting go or not letting go. Even cutting has to cut through itself. This is not just about cutting or not cutting. That which is boundless has to be enlightened to the truth that no grasping is on its own. Disengage even from itself. With everything proceed simultaneously. Open up completely, child. Otherwise, one will be maintaining within knowing, being drowsy within knowing, that's all. Discarding is on its own, child. Continue with the boundlessness. Discarding is on its own. Giving up is on its own. Be thorough with it. Disengaging is boundless, child. Giving up the giving up itself in a way that is boundless. No grasping even for the non-grasping itself in a way without boundaries. Any sentences given here, they have self-purification in themselves. They dissolve themselves. They don't grasp themselves. Child, open up completely, inside and outside evenly, in a way that is not grasping on its own constantly, because the grasping mind is a lot, grasping for looking, seeing, and knowing, thinking, feelings, grasping for any states of mind, stillness, indifference, ordinariness. The habit of grasping is a lot. Grasping for body, mind, elements, and everything is a lot. Therefore, conclude well. No grasping is on its own. Open up completely and constantly. Purifying within itself, conclusion within itself constantly. No grasping on its own. It doesn't grasp for the conclusion itself. It purifies itself. No grasping purifies itself. This is the conclusion within itself. With everything proceed simultaneously. with everything. Proceed simultaneously. With this, it will end all about narrowness. Being limited to a certain extent, this is narrowness, always narrow. The road is wide, but the one who walks on is narrow, is limited. Just walking within the walking, not open up fully. Always giving significance in the walking. Being limited with just something within the walking, on and on. Open up completely. No grasping, even for the non-grasping itself. What is that is left here? Disengage even from itself in the way that is boundless. There will be nothing left, huh? Disengage in the way that is boundless, constantly, thoroughly, so that one will not be stuck with just disengaging, extinction or cutting. That is not yet beneficial for samsara. Disengaging in the way that is boundless, that's the mighty force of the purification of the extinction. And cutting will help through resolutely. Constantly, huh? So continue with the penetrating through that is already good. Stepping back from the stepping back itself thoroughly. With this, it will purify all the added in the 4 elements of earth, air, water, and fire, which is the realms of existence. Purify simultaneously, no grasping for the non-grasping itself completely. This will purify simultaneously within all the added of realms of existence that overlapping within earth, air, water, and fire, within the 4 elements. There will be automatic purification without checking. Huh? Purification is automatic. The checking is blocking, is obstructing. The checking itself is gross. The scanning is also gross. Knowing is gross within itself. It has to be beyond knowing, child. Letting go is on its own. Uninvolvement is on its own. No grasping is on its own. It is beyond knowing or not knowing, beyond grossness and subtleties, but it can purify both. For both tangible realms and intangible realms. Don't waste the time to deludedly checking or scanning anything or evaluate anything, child. It will turn into a blockage. That which is purification of the emptiness has no expectation for anything in return. Purification, and that's it, is bygone. Through the extinction and the emptiness, there is no expectation for any work result. Purifying, and that's it. Disengage, and that's it. The boundlessness that is given, and that's it. Purifying that is given, and that's it. There is no such a thing that being pleased with the work result or the blessing result. Purification is purification through the emptiness, child. Therefore, it's beyond the work and the work result. It's beyond the blessing and the result of the blessing. Purify through the emptiness is like this. The habits of deludedly checking and knowing. There is no need to be afraid to lose it. go ahead completely. Disengage on its own has to be given completely, fully. The boundlessness is to be given completely. There is no need to be afraid to lose looking, seeing, knowing, and not. There is no need to regret all the understanding or not. Let there be no clinging within Titi, wisdom, mindfulness, concentration. Let there be no clinging at all with this. It's not about anything and anything. Therefore, no grasping on its own, non-attachment on its own has to be given completely without grasping for it. It is boundless, child. The boundlessness is not about something that has no limits or is boundless. The boundlessness is the boundlessness, period. It's not about something that has no boundaries, huh? Just like the emptiness is not about anything within the emptiness, huh? Emptiness doesn't signify itself. It's not about anything within the emptiness. That which is boundless, it is just by the intention through the great compassion. For samsara, actually, purifying samsara, actually. All that is said is the same essence. Whatever sentences are used, they are from the same essence. Just like a diamond, how many angles there are? All those angles are in one diamond. It's the same essence. Therefore, each terminology that is given to be blessed is the essence of Sunyata Nibbana, totally. It's all of the non-attachment, all the same in every sentence. And it's all of the great compassion within those sentences. That is benefits for oneself and others simultaneously given. Purifying the purification itself and samsara simultaneously. Purifying oneself and samsara is simultaneous. Ending and help through ending is simultaneous. Extinction and help through the extinction is simultaneous. Every sentence is the essence of the great compassion within itself. In every sentence, any sentences are the great compassion in themselves. Enable to use them. Don't take in for oneself. Use them. Enable to use them for samsara. This is not for oneself alone. This is not trying to conclude for the sake of oneself. This is the conclusion to be given for samsara. Then there is no lacking of the great compassion there. The great compassion is not to be taken into oneself. It is to be proceeded and shared with the cutting diluted knowing simultaneously with samsara. Ending and help through ending is simultaneous. This is called great compassion. Cutting deluded knowing and help through cutting deluded knowing is simultaneous. Emptiness is shared for samsara, to be proceeded with samsara simultaneously. Purifying through the emptiness totally. For both that so-called samsara or not, the boundlessness purify that which is samsara and not simultaneously. No boundaries. It's impossible to be limited with certain extent with body-mind, inside or outside, detachment or attachment. emptiness or not, it's impossible to be limited with anything whatsoever. The boundlessness is the boundlessness, period. Even the limitation is not limited to itself. The boundlessness is the boundlessness. It's not just about liberation or not. It's not just about ending or not, finishing or not. It's not limited to only anything whatsoever. The boundlessness is the boundlessness. That's it. Then it will purify simultaneously for both the so-called samsara and not. Then it's called no grasping is on its own. Non-attachment on its own. Not to be stuck with just attachment or non-attachments. Or just grasping or non-grasping. Taking or not taking. The boundlessness is the boundlessness, period. Why being obsessed with just limited to anything whatsoever? Even the non-grasping doesn't grasp for anything. How can there be any limitations here? There is no clinging in cutting or not. The boundlessness is the boundlessness, period. There is no clinging in trying to let go or not letting go, in cutting or not cutting, in an act of discarding or not discarding anything. There is no clinging at all. The boundlessness is the boundlessness, that's it. There is no concern in trying to let go or not letting go of anything. There is no concern with that at all. Having to let go or not letting go of anything at all. The boundlessness is the boundlessness, period. There is no concern to be empty or not empty with obligation. There is no burden and worries and concern that having to be empty or not empty with anything. The boundlessness is the boundlessness, period. That is the Mahasunyata purifying samsara thoroughly, purifying both samsara and whatnot. The boundlessness is the boundlessness, that's it. How could there be obsessed with lanes of Titi? Even the main path is not it. Being obsessed with something within a path, that is being limited to such, with the beginning of the way and the end of the way, with all those steps, that which is boundless. Let there be no end and uncountable in purifying through the emptiness for samsara, child. Let's not be obsessed with all those paths and this lane and that lane, this path and that path. It's not a path. The boundlessness is the boundlessness, that's it. It's beyond being a way or a path totally. There is no conditions at all. It's not a path at all. There is no concerns about understanding or not. It has nothing to do with understanding or not at all, child. There is no clinging within Titi, opinions and meanings and wisdoms or intelligence.